Welcome back to the Wargaming Den. This is the second battle I had last Saturday. The first game was against Josh's Goblins, then later in the afternoon Gordon came round bringing an Undead army with him to have a second game. So I used the same ogre list as I did against Josh. It had two warriors regiments, it had a warrior chariot regiment, boomer chariot troop, the two siegebreaker hordes, a shooter horde, Manny the mammoth, the warlock with drain life, two boomer sergeants, and Nomgodok. Never leave home without him. Gordon's been using Undead the last few weeks. We've got a tournament coming up later in the year down here in Oamaru. We ran our first one last July, August, just to see if we could do so, and it was a little event with about 8 of us. We're looking to run another event this year. Gordon's going to be the TO, and he wants an army to take so that if there's an odd number of players, he can play the bye round against anyone whose game it is. So he wants an army that is going to be fun but not too competitive. So instead of tweaking his army to make it more effective, we've been doing the opposite. We've been trying to give him suggestions on how to make it slightly less effective. He started out using balefire catapults and werewolves, and this list that he came up with, which he thought would be a bit of a shits and giggles kind of list, actually turned out to be pretty cool and quite effective the way he was using it. So we're slowly trying to tune it down, I guess you could call it. So he's gone for a character heavy list this time round, got rid of the werewolves, there are no balefire catapults. He wants something that's going to be able to be pushed around. It's got a lot of surge, it's got a lot of spellcasters. It's very different to anything I've faced before. I've only faced Undead a couple of times so far. So what he's got here is a skeleton warrior horde, skeleton warrior regiment, a skeleton spearman horde, and also a regiment of spearmen, zombie troll horde, horde of ghouls, and a Ghoulghast, which I have yet to kill. I've fought it about 3 times, and it is just a ferocious little pain in my neck, really. He's got a necromancer with drain life. He's got 2 lich kings and chucked quite a few spells on them, probably more than they need, but he was just trying to burn up a few points really. And he's got a cursed pharaoh with the wings of the honey maze and Zunok Iceblood. So 12 units, unit strength 19, lots of spellcasters, lots of surge, very different list to anything I've faced before. As I said, we rolled up and came up with the Raise mission. Here you can see deployment for us both. The objectives are here, here and here for Gordon, so he's pushed his over on that side of the table. Mine, I've got one over here in front of this tower, which I painted up the night before. I'd had it sitting around. Another one here, one on the other side of this ruined building. This is a hill here, this is a hill here, this is difficult going, couple of fields. So quite a bit of blocking terrain across the centre, couple of buildings which are impassable, also limiting things a wee bit. So let's have a look at deployment. So I chucked a unit of a regiment of warriors out wide. I was hoping to sneak around behind the building, get to this objective here. There's a siege breakers nearby. There is, I think that's Nom Nom there by the looks of it. That's where the chariots are. I've got a boomer sergeant. So basically, unlike my normal deployment, I ended up dividing my army up into 2 different battle groups. I've got the chariots here. I've got Nom Nom. Can't really see them in between the 2 of those, but the shooters there. Another berserker. A bully sergeant, and then my second unit of regiment of warriors. And again, these are using the gripping beast bugbears, which I really like the models. I've got quite a few of them, but I'm only using 2 regiments today. over here on the other side, I think we've got the guy with the honey maze down here. We've got the trolls. They're preventing me taking this objective. The necromancer here. Lots of skeletons across the middle here. Ghouls in behind. The ghoul ghast is in here. There's characters scattered around here like lich kings and things like that. So my plan is to try and push through here, get this objective. I've got some siege breakers, boomer chariots nearby, hoping to take this one. Not sure if I'll be able to get this one over here because of the zombie trolls likely to block me, and then hope to push through here, and then kind of put a defensive screen around to try and prevent Gordon from shambling across to take his objectives. So we will see how it goes on turn 1. This is a slightly better shot for the deployment, and as you can see I got that completely wrong. I've got the shooters over here, as it turned out, trying to control this kind of area with their shooting. Siege breakers actually had the other unit of siege breakers beside Manny and the regiment of warrior chariots, so not quite the way I thought I'd deployed. You can see he's got the ice blood guy tucked in back here. We've got the ghouls at the back, and various characters scattered in amongst Gordon's army there. So let's move on to turn 1. Okay, turn 1. You can just make out here I have my regiment of warriors. I've double timed round to get behind the tower. They want to wheel round here towards that objective in time. We have a warlock here. Siege breakers went forward to just in front of the hill. I've got the boomer chariots here with Nom Nom nearby. And the that's the shooters. They advance forward, trying to get some shots on this horde over here, really. And same with the boomers. They moved over to strengthen my centre. Got a boomer sergeant here. Chariots. Sorry, I got those chariots around the wrong way. So that's the regiment of warrior chariots. That's the boomer chariots. Siege breakers here. Many unprotected out here on my flank. I left the regiment of what are they? Of the warriors with the boomer in front here. The trolls have come advancing down here, and that's the pharaoh guy with the honey maze. So Gordon's advanced around here. He's shuffled forward. There's been a few spells and things cast, but no real damage of note on turn 1. And just a bit of a close-up. As you can see, these chariots really annoy me. They only just fit on the base. I've actually ordered some more bases. I'm going to try and get 2 of them on a 10 by 10. We will see how we get on with that. But as you can see, the skeletons all shuffled forward. We've got the spellcasters scattered amongst them. They've got the ghouls tucked in behind. Start of turn 2. Manny thinks he's in an okay position, or I thought he was in an okay position. What I didn't count on was Surge. There's someone else nearby with Surge. The trolls end up swinging around here, using about 16 Surge, maybe more, and slamming into the side of Manny, which looks like this. So the zombie trolls did quite a bit of damage, and Manny was no more. So the start of turn 2, for pretty much the first time in his career, Manny got taken out early in a game. Wasn't quite what I was expecting, but I now have a new respect for Surge. So as you can see from this shot, Gordon's pushed forward with his skeletons. He's got a big horde of skeleton warriors. He's got the gas. He's still got a necromancer back here. This is the pharaoh. My regiment of warriors and my boomer sergeant. He's tucked this guy in to protect the flank of his zombie trolls, which is a very sensible move. I've got my siege breakers here, and my chariots are looking to try and take out this unit here. Just out of the picture down here though, that's where the objective is. So Gordon's been pushing forward this way. I'm planning on running my Boomer Sergeant, who isn't an individual, does have unit strength, to claim an objective here. I'm looking for objectives first and foremost in this one, and from just a slightly different angle. So we've got the skeletons getting in the way here of the Boomer chariots. We've got the siege breakers are being threatened now on their flank by the trolls, and by the front by this big horde here. We've got a Boomer Sergeant coming over to lend a bit of support. This is the central objective that neither side can claim, but we both can control. So yeah, we will see how this turns out in the next round or so. As you can see, my warriors down here are engaged the Pharaoh. They did quite a few wounds on him. What ends up happening is for about the next 3 to 4 rounds, I end up wavering this guy, not being able to kill him. He regenerates. He uses spells like Drain Life to bring down his wounds, and it's just a combat that doesn't go anywhere fast. Here's the Necromancer here. My Boomer Sergeant's just heading straight for that objective. I'll be there next round and I'll be able to claim it. I threw the Siege Breakers in against the big horde here. The Boomer chariots I've chucked on in here on their flank. There's not a big enough gap through here between the building for the trolls to get in versus the siege breakers. Now Boomer Sergeant's coming across to support, and my regiment of chariots have gone into these guys here. As you can see, even the shooters have drifted across, and my other warlock, and they've been aiming to try and wear down the zombie trolls a wee bit. Over here, I've got the siege breakers on one of Gordon's objectives. Out of screen up here is where I'm going for that other objective. So I'm hoping to be able to claim all 3 of my objectives, because the third one is under the siege breakers here. If they can defeat these guys, then I'll have that objective. I'll be able to get there next turn, and I'm hoping to get that one as well. So the siege breakers got really lucky. They did something like 16 hits, 12 wounds, maybe even more when they hit those skeletons, and are going to claim that objective. The boomers are just tucked in there. They're expendable, the boomer chariots, as far as I'm concerned. This guy again is just trying to protect the flank of these chariots a wee bit. Not surprising, the trolls are going after the chariots. Siege breakers in here. Things are getting really annoying though in here. These characters of Gordon's, because they're individuals, are able to just dance around my units, get out of their line of sight, keep casting spells, and starting to wear down my units quite a bit. The Gauls have come charging in against the chariot regiment. He's got his 2 units of skeletons up over here. The boomers are looking to move over to support. You can just about see my other regiment of warriors here. So I'm managing to prevent Gordon getting across to where he needs to get, and I'm hoping to claim my objectives soon. So my siege breakers on top of the hill, and these skeletons are coming to get them. They're really nice skeletons. It's an army that Gordon is in the middle of rebasing at present, that he bought from a guy in Christchurch, and there are some really cool conversions in this army, and he's got lots of options and flexibility in how he decides to build it. So Gauls versus chariots here. I think that's one of the Lich Kings here, casting spells and being annoying. See, he's darted out of the charge arc of my guys, and he continues to do that all game. Find it difficult with the boomers and things to target the characters because they're individuals and are dancing around, and yeah, they become a real annoyance throughout the game. and just from a slightly different angle. So we're locked in combat in the middle here. Siege breakers have been hit in the flank by the skeletons up here, thanks to more cunning use of surge spells, and my regiment is up here. I haven't claimed that yet, but I should any minute now. In here, there is a destroyed Empire-type organ gun and a dead crewman in amongst the horde, which is pretty cool. The siege breakers take quite a few wounds. Try and use my drain life from my warlock to heal them up a bit and keep them going. Nom Nom's busy doing his lightning bolty thing. My regiment of chariots got wavered by the Gauls, but it's still in the battle. It looks like they've taken about 6 wounds. And see now, and then there were 2. Now Gordon's got both of his Lich King characters around here, causing carnage. The zombie trolls have taken care of the boomer chariots. They were just chaff as far as I was concerned, slowed things down, but it does allow Gordon to capture this objective here. The warriors that were fighting the siege breakers have danced over here. I think they did a withdraw and then charge something else. The other siege breakers are turning around in circles, trying to chase these guys. The boomer's coming to give them a hand. Yeah, I think I got rid of the Gauls. The chariots were still wavered. The Gaul Gas is just a real beast, as I've said before. He managed to chew through quite a few units all by himself. Funny thing is, Gordon's out of, this is about turn 4, Gordon's almost out of regular infantry type units now, but these characters then started really kicking my butt, and at the end of turn 4 I thought, yeah, game over, I've got this one in the bag. Those characters and their spells, especially that Hound of the Shadow Beast, were really hard to deal with for the rest of the game. So a few more games under his belt with this army, and Gordon is going to be quite hard to beat, I think. He usually is. He wins most of the games around here, but we will see this time. So we've got the undead characters still causing carnage in here. Fireballs and things are going off and healing him, his forces as well. Siege breakers are back engaging here. I've had to throw in the shooters against some undead here. My warrior regiment have claimed the token. They're going to also charge into the rear of those guys, all going well. But these characters here just keep dancing out of the way and casting spells and just nibbling away at my force. And that's just from a slightly different angle of where we were. So I'm in charge range over there. Siege breakers against the skeleton spearmen. Regular skeletons here versus the versus my shooters who've taken 4 wounds. Nom Nom is trying to cast spells. This guy keeps dropping fireballs on my units, and then I decide, bugger this, I'm just going to charge him and hit him in hand-to-hand combat and prevent his spell casting that way. The Golgast is taking care of another unit. The Lich King is casting spells. There's a lot of spells coming downrange towards me, turn after turn. Having chewed up 2 or 3 of my units, the Golgast decides to go for the shooters, and I think he whiffs on this turn, which is good for me. The thing that's been making him so damn nasty is that Gordon's been keeping on casting the Shadow Beast spell, and he's been getting an extra 5 or 6 attacks each round, which when coming in from the flank of my guys, I don't know, actually he may be an individual and may not get extra attacks, but even without them, with the bonus of the 6 or 7 attacks from the Shadow Beast, he's just really chewed through things and has been quite devastating. There's just the characters left over here. The trolls are long gone. Siege breakers are sitting here. So I just need to capture that objective. I've got all 3 of mine. Gordon's got 1 at this stage, and the game is almost over. We're on turn 5 or 6 at this stage. And unfortunately, this picture is slightly out of focus, but I just absolutely love the shading on this vampire character that is included in Gordon's army. The subtlety in that the green just really pops. I really like that figure. It's very well painted. And yeah, this is about the bottom of the turn. So my warriors have smashed into the skeletons here. They've taken a couple of wounds. Not sure what they've done to the skeletons, not enough to destroy them. Nom Nom's coming over this way. I've managed to get 9 wounds on that Ghoulghast, but I've taken 10 myself and a wavered, so not looking good. But at the end of this is the end of turn 6. I'm still there. Even if he claims that objective, it's 3-1 to me, I think it turns out, because he isn't able to get any of the other objectives of his. And siege breakers are just here if there is a turn 7, but there isn't, and that's the end of the game. So it was a really enjoyable game. I hadn't faced that much surge before, and it's quite surprising how far units can move. So I really do need to protect units' flanks in my army, especially Manny. He's not going out on a flank like that again against Undead. What else? The spells he was casting were really effective as well. The Shadow Beast on the Ghoulghast was a really nice use of that spell. He kept using his drain lives and things as well, and just slowly eroding my forces. This wasn't as tough as the force that ran over my army a couple of weeks ago, though, and that's mainly because it was lacking the werewolves, and Gordon is really good at using fast flanking units to get in behind my lines. The ogres don't like things getting behind them. Flyers, things like that. Fast cavalry units can turn my army quite quickly, and usually I have to deploy in quite a solid formation. I usually have at least a depth of 2 units. I very rarely spread across the table like I have in this one, and that was really because I probably deployed the objectives a bit far apart. But as it turned out, it worked in my advantage. That Gordon was hoping in the last turn or 2 to be able to use his surge to get some skeletons across to the objectives near the tower, but I was able to block him throughout the game and prevent that from happening. So it ended up a victory to the Ogres, but it was the second good game that I had last Saturday, and by the end of 2 games, I was a bit buggered, really. My brain was starting to hurt because both Josh and Gordon had played really well and made me think all the way through. So 2 enjoyable games over that weekend, and I'm looking forward to some more before too much longer. So thanks very much for listening. Ka kite anō.